Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're journeying into the heart of Kenya, a nation, well, dynamically shaping its own future. Beyond the daily headlines, there's a really captivating interplay going on. Shifting alliances, complex power moves, and a public that's anything but static.
That's absolutely right. Our mission for this deep dive really is to cut through all that immediate noise and offer you a truly informed perspective.
Yeah, get beneath the surface.
Exactly. We'll explore the current political landscape, the evolving struggles within the opposition, the undeniable pulse of public opinion, and of course, the key players and challenges on the road to the pivotal 2027 elections.
And to guide us through this, well, intricate political tapestry, we've drawn from a really rich stack of sources. We've got comprehensive analyses like Kenya's shifting political landscape, power, opposition, and public unrest, and also regional dynamics and 2027 outlook, and Mashandi's 2027 presidential bid, aspirations and challenges.
And we've also woven in insights from major news outlets, Reuters, The Guardian, AP News, plus local Kenyan media, academic papers, and even those, candid discussions you find in public forums like Reddit.
Okay, so to truly understand Kenya's current trajectory, we have to look beyond just the surface level stuff. The first really significant move on this political chessboard, as our sources reveal, is how President William Ruto's ruling Kenya Kwanza coalition has meticulously solidified its formal power.
Yeah.
I mean, formally holding the speakership in both legislative chambers? That's quite a grip.
It is, and one striking element of this strategy is how President Ruto has actively co-opted key opposition figures.
Right.
We've seen prominent members of the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, brought directly into cabinet roles, state agencies.
So pulling them across the aisle.
Pretty much. And this co-optation, it isn't just about consolidating power. It seems to be fundamentally reshaping Kenya's political DNA. It's kind of eroding the very framework of a robust opposition, which, is crucial for democratic checks and balances.
Yeah. That's a fascinating point about eroding the framework. And it's not just about drawing in external figures, is it? The sources also point to a broad-based cabinet reshuffle, late 2024, early 2025. What was the deeper strategy behind that internal realignment?
Well, a critical challenge always emerges from managing internal party dynamics, doesn't it?
Sure.
This reshuffle, it seems, was primarily aimed at quelling dissent within Kenya Kwanza itself, particularly among the youth and those powerful elites in central Kenya, especially the influential Mount Kenya region.
Oh, okay.
It was apparently a direct response to issues like Deputy President Gachagua's impeachment proceedings. Remember, he faced accusations of insubordination, financial impropriety.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
So it was a clear move to consolidate power and address that simmering discontent from within the ruling structure.
So if the government is actively consolidating, co-opting, what does that leave for the opposition? Our sources suggest it's far from a unified front over there.
Oh, indeed. Far from it. We saw a really significant development back in March 2025. President Ruto signed a policy pact with the longtime opposition leader, Raila Odinga, head of ODM.
Okay, a pact, not a full coalition.
Exactly. Not a full coalition, but it was significant enough to alarm many other opposition figures.
This is where the story, I think, truly unfolds. The Jubilee Party, for instance, which was a core part of the Azimio coalition.
Yeah.
Legally, they're still inside Azimio, but now they're signaling readiness to lead the opposition as ODM actively distances itself. What does this kind of dramatic shift mean for the future of the entire Azimio coalition?
Well, this development signals a profound fracturing. Really deep cracks. The ODM's pact with the government essentially prompted Wiper, NARC Kenya, and DAPK to formally exit the Azimio coalition.
They just walked out?
Pretty much. They cited betrayal, a dilution of opposition unity. It leaves Azimio in a clear state of disarray,
And beyond these internal splits, there's been institutional resistance too, particularly a significant legal challenge, correct?
Absolutely. In February 2025, the High Court delivered a landmark ruling. It declared that ODM actually holds the majority in the National Assembly.
Wow, okay, so that directly challenges Kenya Kwanza.
Directly challenges their control, threatens key leadership positions like majority leader. Unsurprisingly, Ruto's allies have vowed to contest the ruling. So it highlights this deep-seated institutional struggle that's playing out.
You touched on public discontent earlier. While the government still maintains a large parliamentary majority, our sources are painting a picture of weakening grassroots support, especially among younger Kenyans, Gen Z. Why is this demographic, which was once seen as a key part of Ruto's hustler nation narrative, feeling increasingly disillusioned?
Yeah, this compels us to ask about the government's maybe diminishing connection with its initial base. Youth frustration, it seems to stem deeply from soaring living costs, reports of police brutality, persistent economic stagnation.
The everyday realities.
Exactly. And we've seen it erupt in recent protests, standout incidents too. The tragic death of that blogger, Albert Ojwang, for instance.
That caused a lot of anger.
Huge anger. And the subsequent sort of heavy-handed crackdowns against looting, all this has significantly eroded President Ruto's once powerful hustler nation brand, the one that promised economic uplift for the masses.
It's a powerful erosion of a core promise.
Yeah.
And there were particularly strong reactions to something President Ruto reportedly said as well about police action.
Yes. President Ruto publicly directed police to use force, notably with that very controversial phrase, shoot in the leg.
Right.
That instruction, well, it fueled strong opposition, calls for his resignation, and it drew significant human rights concerns from the UN, various civil society organizations. It remains a major flashpoint, a real point of contention across the country.
So zooming out, how does all this ripple across the political landscape? It sounds like regional dynamics are also playing a huge, maybe even unpredictable role now.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about Ment Kenya? It used to be such a stable voting bloc.
It's particularly noteworthy, isn't it? Ment Kenya, long the stable Kikuyu voting bloc that consistently backed leaders like Uhuru Kenyatta and Mwai Kibaki. Now it's highly fragmented.
Fragmented how?
Well, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua faces significant resistance from influential youthful MPs like Ndindi Nyoro, and also a powerful, unified bloc of female governors. They're known collectively as the G7.
The G7, okay.
Yeah. Analysts are warning that this region is fast becoming the next major theater for intense political rivalry. You're seeing local factions, ethnopolitical splits emerging. It's fundamentally altering its traditional solidity.
Fascinating. And what about Luo Nyanza, traditionally Raila Odinga's stronghold?
Well, Luo Nyanza, historically aligned with Raila Odinga's ODM, now finds itself sort of intricately entwined with President Ruto following their strategic pact.
Because of the pact?
Exactly. The ODM's numerous defections into government positions have visibly loosened its once ironclad opposition grip. It's signaling a notable shift in political power away from the Nyanza region.
So, with all these moving pieces, what does this actually mean for President Ruto's broader 2027 election strategy?
It means Ruto is strategically reaching beyond his traditional Rift Valley base. He's trying to capture votes in Nyanza and Western Kenya, likely anticipating a weakening hold in that fragmented Mount Kenya region we just talked about.
Hedging his bets, maybe?
Something like that. And he's also actively repositioning his leadership team. For example, there's talk he might be considering replacing Gachagua with someone like Kindiki, all to shore up his essential base support and, well, broaden his appeal.
Makes sense. Now, with the 2027 elections looming large, the integrity of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the IEBC, is absolutely crucial. But our sources highlight some significant, frankly, deeply concerning issues there.
Absolutely. Public trust in the IEBC is remarkably low. A recent poll by Tifa Research, their respected Kenyan independent research firm, found a staggering 50% of Kenyans have no confidence in its ability to manage free and fair 2027 elections.
50%, that's huge.
It is, and only 20% are fully confident.
So what are the underlying root causes of that widespread distrust, according to the sources?
Well, this critical challenge seems to emerge from deep institutional weakness. A significant 30% of Kenyans blame political interference.
Okay.
29% point to corruption or bribery within the system, and 23% cite systemic flaws within the IEBC itself.
So a mix of political pressure and internal problems.
Exactly. And the commission itself, it remains critically understaffed. It faces severe financial strain, battling a KSH 4 billion, that's roughly 30 million US dollars, budget shortfall for election preparations.
Wow.
Plus, there are persistent leadership vacancies, ongoing legal disputes about swearing-in commissioners, and delayed boundary reviews that were actually due way back in February 2024.
So structurally, it's struggling.
Very much so. Even the EU has voiced concerns, urging donor support for transparency initiatives.
Despite these, immense challenges and this widespread distrust, President Ruto has moved forward with key appointments to the IEBC.
Yes, he has. On July 10th, 2025, Ruto approved 6 new IEBC commissioners. That fills a critical leadership void, and it sort of sets the stage for the 2027 elections.
But does it fix the trust issue?
Well, that's the question. Public distrust continues to surge. You've got the ongoing protests, escalating youth dissatisfaction, these widespread perceptions of authoritarian tendencies. These factors collectively threaten to significantly weaken Ruto's 2027 re-election bid, regardless of the new appointments.
Okay, so with the incumbent facing these kinds of challenges and the opposition being so fragmented, are there any key figures clearly emerging to challenge Ruto in 2027? Our sources definitely spotlight Fred Matiang'i.
Right. Yes, Matiang'i. It's particularly noteworthy how he has strategically repositioned himself. After exiting government back in October 2022, he re-entered the political scene with clear presidential aspirations, returned from the U.S. in April 2025.
And Jubilee is backing him.
Yes, significantly, the Jubilee Party has officially backed him as its presidential flag bearer.
And it sounds like he's wasted no time trying to build genuine grassroots momentum.
He really hasn't. In April and May of 2025, he launched this vigorous Meet the People tour across his home turf, Kisii and Nyamira regions, drew massive crowds, signaling, robust grassroots support there.
Okay.
And he's also been working to build a broader coalition. Join initial talks with other significant opposition heavyweights, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa.
Testing the waters for alliances.
Seems like it. And it's also noteworthy he reportedly hired a Montreal-based lobbying firm back in mid-2024. The aim seems to be building global ties, elevating his candidacy profile internationally.
Interesting move. He was also quite vocal recently about the current administration's approach, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. At a church service in Thika, June 2025, he publicly urged President Ruto's administration to tone down the aggressive rhetoric. He pushed for national dialogue instead of resorting to ethnic blame.
Yeah.
And he cautioned that ignoring citizens' frustrations, particularly those of the youth, risked deepening national divisions.
Now, our sources often referred to Matiang'i as Mr. Fix-It from his time as Interior and ICT Minister. What does that nickname really signify about his legacy?
Well, during his tenure, 2013 to 2022, he truly built this reputation for decisive action. Cracking down on exam cheating, spearheading digital migration, enforcing integrity across various sectors.
So getting things done.
Getting things done, that's the image. However, this raises an important question about the methods used. Critics accuse him of employing, authoritarian tactics.
Such as?
Things like shutting down media during Odinga's controversial swearing-in ceremony, enforcing curfews, ordering arrests during anti-government protests, and overseeing heavy-handed responses in situations like the Ruaraka land scandal, which involved allegations of fraudulent land acquisition.
Okay, so a definite hardline approach.
Right.
That makes him a deeply polarizing figure then.
Exactly. Very polarizing. Online sentiment, particularly on platforms like Reddit, it's sharply divided. Some view him as maybe the only credible anyone but Ruto candidate, praising his perceived effectiveness. Yet others express really strong reservations. You see comments like, "We can't have that for a president. Matiang'i isn't any better. He is on record disregarding all court orders."
Wow.
And another user reflected, "First things first, Ruto must go, but Matiang'i, you forget how many bodies were recovered under his leadership." So it clearly highlights the depth of the controversy surrounding his past actions.
Okay, so to summarize his position, strengths include a proven track record in reforms, strong regional backing with Jubilee's support, but the significant weaknesses are those accusations of authoritarianism, integrity scandals, making him, very polarizing.
Yeah, and placing this in the broader context, Matiang'i's success really hinges not just on his individual appeal, but on his ability to somehow bridge these deep divides. He needs to consolidate a truly nationwide coalition and ultimately convince skeptical voters that he represents a genuine transformation, not merely, a Ruto-light alternative.
We've taken quite a deep dive today into Kenya's incredibly dynamic, really intricate political landscape. We've seen how President Ruto's Kenya Kwanza coalition maintains its formal power through strategic co-option, yet also faces these narrowing margins and growing public discontent. The opposition, meanwhile, is in a state of profound flux, fracturing internally even as that high court ruling challenges the government's parliamentary control.
Right.
We've explored the critical role of public sentiment, especially among the youth, fueled by economic grievances, concerns over governance, alongside those dramatic shifting regional dynamics in key areas like Mount Kenya, Nyanza.
Yeah.
And finally, we've introduced Fred Matiang'i, a significant contender for 2027, whose strong base and reformist image are clearly balanced by a controversial legacy that evokes powerful, very divided reactions.
So what does all this intricate maneuvering, all these shifting allegiances actually mean for Kenya's long-term trajectory? Despite the complex political strategies we've discussed, perhaps the deepening public disillusionment, particularly among the youth, coupled with those profound challenges to electoral integrity, maybe these could ultimately represent the most significant and frankly unpredictable forces shaping Kenya's path forward. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What do these widespread sentiments truly mean for the stability and direction of a nation heading into such a crucial election cycle?